going to be taking your blood pressure and your heart rate today. I'm just going to go over a few things with you, ask you a few questions. So if you have any questions for me, just let me know. Okay. So were you able to use the restroom before you came in?
Yeah, I went pee right before I got here.
Okay. And have you had any caffeine or tobacco in the last like 30 minutes to an hour?
No, I had a cup of coffee this morning, but that was like 8 hours ago.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Did you get a good night's sleep last night?
Yeah, surprisingly, I actually slept like 12 hours last night, so I'm feeling good today.
Perfect. This all just takes in effect when I go to give your blood pressure. We just want the most accurate reading possible.
Okay.
So if you don't have any questions for me, and do I have your permission to take your blood pressure to apply the cuff to you?
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay.
And no questions.
Okay, great. You're going to keep your feet flat on the floor.
Okay.
Your back is going to be on the chair, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to have your arm right here, so it's going to be at the heart level.
Okay.
And palms up. So I am going to go ahead and apply the cuff. So all part of taking the blood pressure, you do want the cuff, the pump, and the sphygmomanometer, so that tongue twister, and my stethoscope, right? So what you want to also be careful with is you want the correct size when it comes to the cuffs. Because if it's too big or too small, you're going to have an inaccurate reading. With her, this is going to be perfect. This is an adult size cuff. And so what we're going to do is I'm going to place this on her brachial artery, and it's going to be about 2.5 centimeters up above her intercubital fossa. So, and it labels it for you, so you do see where you need to place it where the artery is. And I am going to wrap it pretty tight, not too tight, but tight enough and where she's comfortable. And then you also want about 2 fingers to be able to go up inside so that it's not too tight. So I am getting her set up, but before I get her set up, what I'm gonna do is I'm going ahead, before I get her heart rate or her blood pressure read, I wanna go ahead and take her heart rate. It's gonna be on her radial, it's gonna be her radial artery, and it's gonna be right there on her lateral side of her wrist. So the way that I'm gonna do it also is I'm gonna place 2 to 3 fingers over her, okay, there it is. So over her radial artery, and I'm gonna do it by the clock. So I just feel like I get a little bit more accurate reading, and I'm gonna do 15 times 4. So I'm gonna listen for 15, or I'm gonna feel for 15 seconds, and then I'm gonna multiply it by 4. Okay, great. So she was right at 14 on that one. So she's right at 56 beats per minute on her heart rate. So we took her heart rate. We want to go ahead and get her blood pressure. When I'm getting her blood pressure, we're not going to automatically know where her systolic stands unless she does know. But in the case where she didn't, what I would do, and I'm not going to do it on this go around because I want the most accurate reading, and we'll go right into taking her blood pressure, is I could pump this up and keep pumping until I feel no pulse in her radial artery. When I feel no pulse in her radial artery, I know at that point that it is her systolic blood pressure. And then also I can pump it up just a little bit more and release it. And at that point, I'm going to know that when it comes down and I don't hear it and I start to hear a radial pulse again, that's going to be her systolic as well. But right now we're just going to go, and then at that point, if I was to go and take her blood pressure from her systolic reading that I got, or her estimation, I would go up about 20 millimeters over mercury. So, but this time I'm just going to go to 160 millimeters of mercury and get her blood pressure, and then I will draw it down because I'm going to try to be as quiet as I can. So I'm not really talking through it, but as I'm getting her stylistic, and then as I drop it down on this dial, it's going to be about 2 to 5 millimeters of mercury as I drop it down on the dial. And I'm also going to listen on her brachial artery. So I'm going to put my stethoscope right here on her brachial artery, which is just going to be medial to her intercubital fossa and just a little bit higher up. right, perfect. So she's sitting at 111/71, which is a great for her blood pressure. The one thing is when I start to listen to her blood pressure and I watch, that first boop or the first noise that we hear is going to be her systolic. And we can't hear it anymore. That's going to be her diastolic. So I had to watch and listen at the same time just to make sure that I get the most accurate reading. Right now, I am going to take her. I am going to take it again and average between the two. But while she's resting, because she needs about 1 to 2 minutes of resting before I take her blood pressure again. She has a great blood pressure because her systolic is under 120 and her diastolic was under 180. If she was to have a little bit elevated blood pressure, we know it's going to be about 120 to 129, and her diastolic would still fall under 80. If she was to have hypertension 1, she's going to fall in there from like 130 to 139, being her systolic, and her diastolic would be right there between 80 and 89. If she was hypertension 2, if her blood pressure fell between there, it's going to be about over 140, and her diastolic would be over 90. If she was actually in an extreme case where we needed to seek medical attention, she's going to be her systolic would be about over 180 and her diastolic over 120. So that's when she would seek medical attention. But right now we're just going to go ahead and we're going to, since I gave her time to be able to relax, we're going to go ahead and get her blood pressure again. Close the valve. Releasing it. Oh, there it is. And perfect. It was right about 110/70. So the average is going to be about 110 or 111 over 70, 71 for her blood pressure. So thank you.